Hey everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
This is where we take a whole stack of sources, research articles, sometimes even listener notes, and really dig in
Yeah, we sift through it all.
to pull out the most vital, often pretty surprising insights just for you.
And today, we've got a really fascinating journey lined up.
We do. We're looking at three huge figures from the Abrahamic traditions: Abraham, Jacob, and Moses.
Giants, real.
But we're not just, dusting off ancient history books here.
No, definitely not.
Our mission, our goal, is to sort of uncover their lives as practical, well, blueprints for life transformation.
That's a good way to put it. Blueprints.
Yeah, the idea is to show you how their timeless teachings can genuinely help shape a better life for you, like right now.
It's a bit of a shortcut, maybe, to understanding some really profound ideas, insights that have resonated for thousands of years. Exactly. And our sources, they span everything from ancient commentaries right up to modern psychological takes.
A real mix. A real mix. And they frame these figures less as just, historical people and more as archetypes.
Okay, archetypes. What do we mean by that exactly?
Think of them as universal patterns, blueprints for human experience almost. Deep patterns of behavior or transformation that pop up across cultures and time.
Gotcha.
And their journeys were deeply human. I mean,
Yeah.
full of struggle, moments of triumph, yes, but also profound doubts. Incredible faith, too.
Makes them relatable.
Very relatable. By looking at their experiences, even their flaws, their imperfections, we can find guides for our own growth. Really practical guides.
Here, let's dive in then. Let's start with Abraham, often called the father of nations.
The foundational figure in many ways.
And it's just astounding when you think about it. This call, he gets to leave absolutely everything familiar. Home, family, his whole world.
Everything.
Our sources really wrestle with just how huge that decision was. Was it just packing bags and moving, or is leaving everything familiar pointing to something, well, deeper, something internal?
That's such a crucial point. And yeah, the sources really emphasize that Abraham's journey wasn't primarily geographical.
Okay.
It was about this profound act of surrender, deep trust, and having a sense of purpose that just completely overshadowed his comfort zone.
So what are the key teachings there?
Well, first, he embodied what some scholars call this radical pact with the unknown.
A pact with the unknown.
Yeah, where the sheer act of stepping forward was the path. It wasn't just faith over fear passively. It was like actively engaging with uncertainty.
Actively. I like that.
And there's the trust in timing, waiting decades for Isaac, his promised son.
Decades. That's incredible patience.
It is. And it wasn't passive waiting, It was deep rethinking of what timing even means when you're dealing with, well, the divine.
Right. Redefining timing itself.
And maybe the most stark teaching, his readiness for sacrifice. That radical obedience, even when it meant being prepared to give up the thing you loved most.
That story is intense. So the history is profound, definitely.
Yeah, right.
But the real power, like you said, is how these sources connect it to us. How do we translate Abraham's journey into something tangible for our lives? What's the takeaway for someone listening right now?
I think the direct application for you is learning to actually lean into uncertainty.
Okay. Easier said than done sometimes.
Oh, for sure. But Abraham's story shows that sometimes the path only reveals itself one step at a time. You don't get the full map up front.
Right. No GPS for this kind of journey.
Exactly. So it encourages you to define your own inner compass.
Inner compass.
Yeah, that core conviction, that purpose that guides your biggest, toughest decisions, especially when the outcome is totally unclear. It's about building that courage to move forward, even without all the answers, trusting that the next step will somehow become clear.
Okay. And we have a practical tip for this one, right? Inspired by Abraham.
We do.
Try starting a weekly faith journal. Simple idea. Just write down one significant uncertainty you're dealing with. Then record how you chose to act anyway, with trust, even if it felt hard. It's a really powerful way to build that trust muscle and see how the path unfolds over time.
It trains you to notice.
Exactly. Okay, so if Abraham's story is about that bold leap into the unknown,
Yeah.
our next figure, Jacob, pulls us somewhere different, more inward, maybe more challenging.
Definitely inward.
He's known as the struggler, sometimes the deceiver. He wrestled not just with God or a divine being, but really wrestled with his own shadow.
And that led to a major transformation.
Right. So tell us about Jacob's journey.
Well, Jacob's story, as our sources laid out, is just this vivid picture of how identity can evolve through struggle.
Through the hard stuff.
Through the really hard stuff, that famous wrestling match. It wasn't just with some external angel or divine figure.
No.
Many interpretations see it as him wrestling with his own internal shadow. The parts of himself he wasn't proud of, maybe suppressed, his cunning, his past deception.
Like the stuff with his brother Esau.
Exactly. And his name changed to Israel, which means one who struggles with God. Isn't just some mystical event. It's a symbol of profound self-redefinition.
And it only happened after the struggle.
Only after confronting both the divine and his own past, especially facing Esau again. The narrative is clear. That kind of deep inner conflict isn't something to run from. It's actually a powerful catalyst for growth.
Okay, so when we face our own shadows, those uncomfortable bits of ourselves we'd rather ignore, what does Jacob's struggle teach us about our own path?
It teaches us that real growth, genuine transformation, only happens when we actually turn and face ourselves.
No shortcuts.
No shortcuts. You simply can't run from discomfort and expect to evolve. What's so fascinating in Jacob's story is how it shows our identity isn't fixed. It's not static.
It changes.
It evolves, specifically through these struggles. Your transformation really kicks off the moment you stop pretending, stop putting up a front, and start reflecting honestly on who you are.
Warts and all.
Warts and all, including the parts you find really difficult or uncomfortable. It's in that honest look that the real self starts to emerge.
Okay, so a practical tip for this. How do we wrestle?
Try setting aside just one focused hour a week. Maybe less, maybe more. But dedicate some time for deep self-reflection. And ask yourself that tough but really vital question. What part of myself am I running from?
Oof, that's a big one.
It is. It's challenging, no doubt,
Yeah.
but it's also deeply rewarding. And it mirrors Jacob's own transformative struggle.
All right, from Abraham's faith leap to Jacob's inner wrestling.
Right.
Now we shift to Moses.
Moses, another giant.
And his story is one of just incredible transformation. From a stammering shepherd feeling inadequate
Right, feeling led to.
to the liberator of nations. It's like living proof that your purpose can be way bigger than any limitation you think you have.
Absolutely. Moses' story is fundamentally about freedom,
Yeah.
but also vision and what we now call servant leadership, just on an epic scale.
So what are his key teachings for us?
Well, first, he calls us to stand up to our inner pharaohs,
Inner pharaohs, explain that.
those tyrannical forces, right? They could be external oppression, sure, but also internal things, self-doubt, fear, limiting beliefs, anything that holds us back, that enslaves us.
Okay.
And Moses led his people not just out of physical slavery in Egypt, but also, crucially, from the internal mental bondage. Generations of oppression leave scars.
Psychological chains.
Precisely. And then, importantly, he brought discipline and law, the commandments, not just as restrictions, but as a spiritual practice.
Structure as spiritual.
Yes, receiving and teaching these divine commandments.
Yeah.
If you connect it to the bigger picture, Moses shows us that true freedom isn't chaos.
It's
Not just the absence of rules.
It's something else.
It's about living within a strong structure of values. That's where real freedom lies.
That's a really powerful way to reframe freedom. Not chaos, but a structure built on values. It makes me wonder, though, do the sources talk about the tension there?
Yeah.
Between structure and, say, individual liberty? How is that balanced?
That's a great question. And yes, many sources do explore that tension.
Okay.
They often suggest that true liberty isn't about having zero boundaries. It's about choosing to align yourself with principles that elevate you, that lift you up.
A conscious choice.
A conscious choice. So Moses really reinforces this idea. Freedom isn't just getting rid of external constraints.
It's more than that.
It's the powerful, liberating presence of well-defined values and principles. Things that guide your choices, your actions, and let you move through the world with intention.
Okay, so for us listening, this raises a question then. What might be our inner pharaoh? What's enslaving your mind today?
That's the reflective question Moses prompts.
And how do we live within those values, not chaos? We have a practical tip here too, right? Echoing Moses' structure.
We do. Try creating your own 10 commandments for life.
Your personal 10.
Your personal 10. Since, as the sources emphasize, real freedom is anchored in clear principles, not just randomness. Sit down and write 10 non-negotiable values or principles that define your personal operating system.
Like a guide for yourself.
Exactly. The living guide that comes from your deepest sense of purpose.
That's powerful.
Looking back then, across these three incredible figures,
Yeah.
we see this clear progression, these profound lessons stacking up. Abraham teaches us that amazing power of faith daring to step out.
Into the unknown.
Jacob reveals the transformation that comes from wrestling with yourself, embracing those inner conflicts.
The struggle.
And Moses inspires us to seek liberation, both inner and outer, and to define our lives through clear, empowering values.
Structure and freedom.
Right. And their lives weren't neat. They weren't perfect. They were human, just like us.
Flawed, even.
Absolutely. But in that very humanity, with all the struggles and the triumphs, they became legends. Their stories still guide us.
And that's exactly why these blueprints, as we call them, are so relevant for you listening right now. In your own faith moments, in your own struggles, in your pursuit of freedom, you too can awaken a higher version of yourself by engaging with these timeless lessons.
You really can.
So we'd encourage you to reflect. Which of these insights really resonates with where you are in life right now?
Which one hits home?
Yeah. How might you try to walk the path with faith, like Abraham? Or wrestle with yourself, like Jacob? Or maybe free your mind like Moses in your own unique journey?
And maybe a final thought to consider. How embracing uncertainty, confronting your inner conflicts, and defining your personal values. How these aren't just ancient practices from some dusty texts.
They're not history lessons.
No, they are essential, active things you can do now for continuous personal liberation, especially in this complex, fast-changing world we live in.